lot of hype for Tennessee coming into 2022. Fans really excited, starting to turn things around last year. 7-5, Josh Heupel getting it done quickly, and it's because of what he can do with this offense. Hendon Hooker back at quarterback. This is going to be a really explosive offense. They're going to score a lot of points. I feel pretty confident in that. Defense, I don't feel as confident, especially depth. I think it's going to be an issue for them on that side of the ball, but they'll be okay. I think the offense will carry this team. The defense will be average, and there's going to be a lot of tough games. And if they can win some close games, could be a really good year for them. The FPI has them at 7.1 and 4.9, so about 7-5. I thought a little higher at 8-4. The over/under is at 7.5, so you would think most likely they're going to be 7-5 or 8-4, which again lines up with the FPI and Athlon. That's really where the predictions are for Tennessee: 7-5, 8-4, somewhere in that range. And I agree with that. I think that's pretty fair. That's a pretty good spot to put this team, because of they're going to be good, so good on offense that they're going. I think worst case scenario, this team is still going to get to a bowl game. But if it comes together for them, they could do even better than 8-4 potentially. Looking at the schedule, you got Pittsburgh on the road. Florida will be a tough game. LSU, Alabama, Kentucky, Georgia. On the road at South Carolina. So 7 tough games that I think that's going to make or break them. I feel pretty good in the other 5 games. Of course, you never know, especially in the SEC. But they will start with Ball State. I think we can give them a win in that game. So I've got them starting 1-0. Then it'll be Pittsburgh on the road. Pitt came into Tennessee last year and beat them. I think Tennessee does the same thing to Pittsburgh this year. They go on the road and they beat Pitt. It'll be a really good game. It'll be, the offense, the explosive offense of Tennessee versus this Pittsburgh team that's going to want to run the football, going to play good defense. And I think that's going to be a really interesting battle there to see, whose style of play kind of wins the day. But I think Tennessee, because of their offense, they do just enough to find a way to go on the road. Hendon Hooker going to be one of the best quarterbacks in the country this year. I don't think he gets enough credit. He will make the difference for them. They beat Pittsburgh and then also beat Akron. So I've got Tennessee starting off 3-0. Next game is Florida, home game for Tennessee. This is a toss-up game. Really, really good one here. I think I could see this game going either way. Home field advantage does kind of lean this one towards Tennessee just a little bit. And usually those games where it's a coin flip for me, I'm going to go to the home field advantage. It's enough. I'm going with Tennessee to beat Florida. I've got this team starting off 4-0 before a bye week. They get a bye week there after Florida. Pretty good spot for it because the next game is on the road at LSU, then Alabama. This LSU game will be a tough one on the road. Very tough place to play. LSU is going to have a lot of talent this year. Some new pieces, of course, a new coaching staff. We don't know how all that's going to come together. There is enough there to where I think LSU could be really good this year, but there are also enough question marks to where I think they could be average. And so that just makes it tough to figure out how good they're going. Because we don't know how good they're going to be, it makes it tough to figure out who's going to win these games when you play against LSU. It's I guess kind of a toss-up for me. So we go to home field advantage. That's going to be LSU, and that's a very, very tough place to play. I'm going to pick LSU in this game, and that'll be Tennessee's first loss before playing Alabama on October the 15th. I think the offense for Tennessee will be ready. They're playing at home. They'll be fired up. I think this will be a pretty good game. I think they will score some points. I think it turns into a shootout. But at the end of the day, Alabama just a little too good. I don't see Tennessee winning this game. Tennessee might have a better shot than some team. I mean, you look at Ole Miss, Tennessee, those are the type of teams that maybe have a shot to knock off Alabama this year. So I'm not going to say there's no chance for Tennessee to win this game, but I just don't think they have enough talent overall. Alabama is just the better team. Going to pick Tennessee to win that game, or Alabama to win that game, I should say. And then I think they do beat Tennessee Martin. So 5-2 will be the record at this point. Next game is against Kentucky, home game for Tennessee. Kind of like the Pittsburgh game, although Kentucky's throwing the ball a little bit more now with Will Levis. But yeah, it's a similar team to Pittsburgh, and I think this will be a similar game. Tennessee's explosive offense will be the difference. Plus, they're playing at home. That'll be enough. I'm going to pick Tennessee over Kentucky. Georgia next on the road. Tough place to play. Very talented team. I think Tennessee has a better chance of beating Alabama than they do Georgia, just because of home field advantage. But then again, I don't. Georgia's not going to have the kind of defense that they had last year. They'll take a step back. Offense should be pretty strong for Georgia, but they're not going to be the type of team that puts up 50 points at will like Alabama. So it's kind of hard to figure out this game. But however it goes, I'm going to pick Georgia to win it. I don't think Tennessee's able to go on the road and win this game. So that knocks them down to 6-3. Next game is Missouri. Home game for Tennessee. Missouri is a team that will be good enough to make this game interesting for a half or so. But playing at home, I think Tennessee will pull away in the second half. I don't see them losing this one. I've got them beating Missouri. So they get a bounce back win after the loss to Georgia. They get this win and move to 7-3. South Carolina's up next. Another really toss-up game. South Carolina is going to be improved this year with Spencer Rattler at quarterback. I think South Carolina and Tennessee are pretty even. On a neutral field, I'd probably take Tennessee. I think they're going to be just a little bit better. But this game is not on a neutral field. It's at South Carolina. Very tough place to play. They'll be fired up for this one. I'm kind of back and forth on this game. And again, when it's a coin flip game for me, usually just going to go with that home field advantage. That's what we'll do here. I'm going to say South Carolina beats Tennessee. But don't get hung up on all these individual games necessarily, because it's all about the record at the end of the day. They could beat South Carolina, but they could also lose to Pittsburgh. So however it falls, this is my record prediction. I fill in the games after I make my record predictions. But based off of kind of how I'm having this play out, I do have them losing to South Carolina before playing Vanderbilt in the final game of the season on the road. Vanderbilt's just not going to be very good. I don't see this game being close at all. Tennessee scores a lot of points. They go up big early, stay on top, beat Vanderbilt, and then finish off 8-4. So that's my prediction for Tennessee. I guess I could see them beating South Carolina here and getting to 9-3. That's about the best case in my opinion. I could also see them losing to Pittsburgh, going 7-5. So I think all the predictions really right on the money with Tennessee. I'm going to go with 8-4. That's my record prediction for the Tennessee Volunteers for this upcoming 2022 season.